Recently, I asked on Facebook, what are the top 5 habits people struggle with? I asked that exact same open-ended question 8 years ago. 8 years ago, the answers were smoking, alcohol, drugs, pornography, and overeating. A lot has changed in 8 years. This time, same question, same place. Look at the difference in the answers. Number 1 was overeating, or lack of exercise, went from 5th place to 1st place. Number 2 was too much social media or screen time. Interestingly, all these answers were given on social media. Number 3 was worry and anxiety, also new on the list. Number 4, poor money management, new on the list. Number 5, procrastination or laziness, new on the list. Quite a change, isn't it? Now, if you're probably having one of 2 emotions. If you struggle with one of those habits, you're uncomfortable. If you don't struggle with one of those, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. But even if those aren't your weaknesses, there's likely something in your life out of control. Didn't start that way. You didn't plan on losing control. But here's the progression. It starts with a thought. Everything starts with a thought. That thought becomes a decision. As you process the thought, it becomes a decision. That decision then leads to an action. That action becomes a repeated action, and an often repeated action is called a habit. A repeated habit leads to addiction, which is a pretty strong word. Here's the picture. Whatever you're struggling with, you once had control of it. Now it has control of you. Traditionally, the church hasn't dealt very well with this subject. For many generations, our response was, well, if you're struggling, you just need to stop it right now. Stop looking at porn. Stop worrying. Stop overeating. Put down your phone. Handle your money God's way. Just stop. Which, that sounds great, but it's not always that easy. You may have an ongoing problem with a sinful, destructive habit, or your problem may not be with the sin, but it's a habit or addiction or compulsion, something that's out of control that you can't stop. Maybe your challenge is different. There may be a hurt in your past that controls you. And that painful memory has you trapped. You could be stuck in a relationship or trapped in a pattern of destructive relationships. Or maybe it's being accepted by others that controls you. You make horrible decisions because you want people to like you. Well, today we look at the story of a man who is controlled by something. In this case, demons. We don't really know how this happened and how it started, but his life was ruined and there was no answer. And then one day Jesus came on the scene. From Jesus' encounter with the man found in Mark chapter 5, we learn principles for finding freedom. Listen close, because this could be one of the most important days of your life. They went across the lake to the region of the Gerasenes. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an evil spirit came from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs. In those days, if you had a family member that was out of control or that you couldn't deal with, you could send them to the tombs, and they would live among the dead, and to you, they would be dead. You never visit them, never see them again. This man lived a tormented, lonely existence. Unhealthy habits take you where you don't want to go. Addiction, bondage, relational, spiritual, even physical death. The principle is healthy habits lead to life, unhealthy habits lead to death. This man, no one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain. For he'd often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. People tried to lock him up. They tried stronger and stronger chains, no luck. every time he broke free. Now he wasn't held captive by iron chains. He was held captive by the condition of his soul. There wasn't an easy or natural answer to his struggle. Inner chains are much harder to break. This man defeated the outward chains, but still never found release. He could get away from chains, but not the demons. Maybe that sounds familiar. You can stop the drugs for a while. You put the credit cards away for a little bit. You overcome your food addiction until you stay away from another negative relationship until you get back in another relationship. The craving, the inner desire drives you back to the habit. It's not the external thing, the stuff that traps you. It's the internal thing. It's the drive. And I want you today to be open to the possibility that it's a spiritual battle. Now, let me give you a word of caution. Most of the time, there's both a natural and a spiritual element of the struggle. Don't automatically assume a demon is making you overeat or procrastinate or shop. The devil made me do it is a convenient excuse for laziness. Do everything you know to do, but be open to the possibility that there is a spiritual aspect to your battle. This man, night and day, among the tombs and in the hills, would cry out and cut himself with stones. He got worse. He developed self-destructive habits. You have a tendency to think, well, this isn't good, but I can live with it. I'll be all right for now. I can quit whenever I want. I hear that so many times. Somebody says, well, I can quit whenever I want. I say, well, how about now? See, a bad habit doesn't automatically go away. It gets worse. It grows. It costs you more. It hurts you more. It strengthens its hold. And with each day of bondage, the habit becomes harder to break. Verse 6, when he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and he fell on his knees in front of him. Now this guy who has been out of control, manipulated by demons, suddenly, with Jesus on the scene, everything changes. He's not yelling. He's not going nuts. He's not cutting himself. He's on his knees at Jesus' feet because he recognized this was his opportunity for freedom. Some of you have been struggling with a habit or a bondage or addiction for years. You've let it control you way too long. You've been in this condition so long. This is your freedom opportunity. Run to Jesus. He shouted at the top of his voice, what do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? Swear to God that you won't torture me. Kind of strange, but people had tried many methods to set this man free, and every time it just resulted in more pain. Now he actually said to Jesus, promise you won't torture me. That seems an irrational fear. But when you come to God and you ask to be delivered or to break a pattern or to break an addiction, you have some fear too. You wonder, what am I going to have to give up? What's this going to cost me? How hard is this going to be? God, please don't make me miserable. And Jesus said to him, come out of this man, you evil spirit. Jesus could have said, take him into town, buy him a new set of clothes, give him a bath, let's see if we can clean him up. That would have been great. But other people had already tried the natural way. Jesus recognized something else is going on, and he addressed the evil spirit. Here's the principle. Spiritual battles are won with spiritual methods. Could be the reason why you've never been able to break free is because you've been only trying natural methods for a spiritual battle. It's time to turn to spiritual weapons, fasting and prayer and worship, allowing other people to pray for you. If you've been struggling for years and you can't seem to break free, it's way past time to give God a try. Jesus asked him, what is your name? My name is Legion, he replied, for we are many. The man didn't answer. The demon answered. See, for a while, you can be bigger than your problem. You can hide it from your family and the people who know you well. But as the problem gets bigger, it's more difficult to hide until one day your problem is bigger than you, and it gets so big, it becomes your identity. You're no longer Jack, you're that drunk. You're no longer Jennifer, you're the crackhead. You're no longer Ted, you're the workaholic. You're no longer Jim, you're the person out of control. Satan comes to steal and kill and destroy, but Jesus comes to give you life and to give you life more abundantly. With God's help, you can have your life back. Jesus will restore your identity. Verse 10, he begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the area. He begged not to send them. So look at this. It wasn't the demons begging not to be sent out of the area, it was the man. He actually asked Jesus to keep the demons around just in case. He wanted to be free and keep his options open. Because after all, what if he discovered life wasn't as fun without the demons? Sounds crazy. You do the same thing. You have a credit card problem, so you decide not to use them, but instead of cutting them up, you put them in a drawer. Or you keep just one or two or three. You struggle with internet pornography. You're going to give it up, but you keep your high-speed internet because, after all, you can't live without high-speed internet. You have a food addiction, but you keep cookies and sweets in the kitchen just in case you get a craving, because it doesn't matter if you eat a little. You don't have to be deprived. You're keeping your options open. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. It's not all God. It's not all you. It's not all natural. It's not all supernatural. You have a part to play in your freedom. You have to come to Jesus ready to change and eliminate your options. When people tell me they want to change, first thing I say is, would you change your cell phone number? Because as long as you still have that old number, you're going to allow people from your old life to have access to you. When they won't change their number, I know they're keeping their options open. They're not ready to really be free. Now the story turns kind of strange. A large herd of pigs was feeding on the nearby hillside. The demons begged Jesus, send us among the pigs. Allow us to go into them. He gave them permission. The evil spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. The man wanted to keep the demons around. The demons wanted to stay around. Jesus had another plan. He let the demons go into the pigs. Then the pigs all ran off a cliff into the lake and committed suicide. I am so sorry for that. And so sorry to all you Razorback fans who feel like you watched that same thing yesterday. Isn't Jesus awesome? I picture him working hard not to laugh. I mean, you wanted to keep the demons around. Watch this. Jesus doesn't bring partial freedom. He brings total, complete freedom. It's a point of no return. The demons were gone. Those tending the pigs ran off, which we completely understand. 2,000 pigs jumping off a cliff. I would run too. And they reported in the town and the countryside. People went out to see what had happened. The man was set free. People came to check it out. That's what's so powerful about our recovery ministry, Forever Free. Freedom draws a crowd. When you find freedom in Jesus, other people with the same problem will be drawn to you because they want to find the same freedom. And when the people got there, when they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legions of demons, sitting there, dressed in his right mind. The man got the demons out. Now he's dressed, sitting there, right mind, his inward change affected his outward appearance. This is another area where churches have got this backwards. We've been more worried about outward change than inward change. Someone walks in the door and they dress or they act or they talk different than you think they should. And you want them to dress right or look right or act right or talk right before they ever come to church. That makes no sense. You say, well, they should be more respectful in church. They've never been in church. Well, they should dress like me. Well, how about you go buy them clothes? There's people in need of a heart change. And where do you get a heart change? Jesus. Where's a good place to meet Jesus? Church. And so we should open our arms and not get freaked out when people look a little different from us. We should celebrate that because, oh, that's how you used to look before you got self-righteous and judgmental. Does the outward change happen before or after the inward change? That's a question. What happens after? So don't stress about appearance. Don't worry about it. A hard work on the inside does wonders for the outside. And now here's the part of the story that doesn't make sense. All the people came. They saw the man who'd been possessed sitting there dressed in his right mind, and they were afraid. What? This doesn't seem like the time to be afraid, but because they hadn't heard about Jesus, this was spooky to them. This is the same reason people sometimes get a little wigged out the first time they come to a Spirit-filled church. They see people raise their hands in worship, and they don't know what to think. If they hear someone pray in tongues, they're not quite sure about that. They fear what they don't understand. Then and now, the supernatural divides. When you encounter something you don't understand, you have to make a decision. You have to decide, is this real? Is this God? Can I have this freedom too? Those who'd seen it told the people what had happened to the demon-possessed man and told about the pigs as well. Then the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. And what an odd reaction. After the man was set free, rather than bring everyone they knew who struggled, they asked Jesus to leave. And I wonder what would have happened to that community if they'd asked Jesus to stay. The answer is pretty clear. Jesus got back on the boat, and he landed on the other side of the lake, where the greatest season of healing in his ministry began. Blind people saw, crippled people walk, dead people were raised to life. It was an incredible time, and it could have happened there. The people in that region and that community could have found freedom, but they missed their chance. Jesus still delivers and heals. Don't miss your chance. Don't miss your chance. In a few moments, we're going to pray for people who are struggling. We're going to pray for you if you have an addiction or a compulsion, or if you have a pattern in your life you can't seem to break. Some of you are going to decide to come forward for prayer. Others of you will decide the cost of walking to the front of the room is too great and you'd rather keep your problem. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't miss your chance. How long have you struggled? I know you say you can stop if you want, but you don't believe that. The thing you once had now has you. It's become a controlling influence in your life. That fear is now out of control. Dominates your thinking, your life. That worry is affecting your relationships with your family, maybe even your relationship with God. That habit has cost you time and money and friends, in some cases much, much more. That addiction is destroying you. You once had it. Now it has you. Do you want to be free? Jesus, I pray that you would set people free in this room. Lord, there's some people, they've just made the decision to follow you, maybe just in the last few weeks. And they recognize some patterns and some things in their lives that need to change. I pray that today would be the day, that next step of freedom. Lord, there are other people here who, they don't even know you yet, but they know something's got to change, and they're open to the possibility that maybe you have the answer. Or there's still others who've been in church a long time and hiding their struggle. They've got some nervousness right now, some anxiety, but also a thought, maybe this is my chance to be free. I pray they wouldn't miss their chance.